Is gaming sexist? I wanted to talk a little bit today about gaming and why people might have call it sexist. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos lately of people. I was curious about it, just kind of stumbled upon the topic one day, and
Warning, warning, do not, and I repeat, do not open feminist frequency content. We have definitive proof that it can actually melt brains.
I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos lately of people. I was curious about it, just kind of stumbled upon the topic one day, and actually, if you guys have been watching my Myers-Briggs videos, I might be making a transition here to more just controversial topics, intuitive topics. I might name my channel something like Intuitive Topics or Intuitive Thoughts or Intuitive Questions, something like that.
Intuitive. I'm not entirely sure that you know what that word means. Or I was trying to think of what point you were trying to make, or maybe a different word that you meant to use here, but I got nothing. Intuitive. Perceiving directly by intuition without rational thought as a person or the mind. Also, easy to understand or operate without explicit instruction. If I know one thing, it's that nothing you've said thus far has been easy to understand. Although I guess I can agree that a lack of rational thought does go hand in hand with what I've seen thus far.
To where we're talking about controversial issues, interesting ideas, interesting things. So, that's probably moving forward. So, is gaming sexist?
No, gaming is not sexist. Gaming is just an activity. It's an inanimate object. It does not possess the ability to be sexist. You could attempt to make the argument that there are sexist people who develop games and who play games, but you cannot say that gaming itself is sexist. And even if you could make those arguments, you would be making them on an individual basis. You could not condemn the entire community over something one or a few people did. You could say that that guy is sexist or that company is sexist. You cannot make the claim that gaming is sexist. If someone were to come to me with proof that a company or the leader of a company actually had sexist business practices, I would be as outraged as anyone. But they would have to prove that they refused to represent women in a good light simply because they were women. They would have to prove that they refused to hire women or work with women. This institutional sexism that is apparently in video games does not exist. I have yet to see a case where a woman was denied working in a game company because she was a woman. I've yet to hear a case of someone refusing to make their main character a woman just because she was a woman. I have yet to hear a single legitimate example of sexism in video games.
I've been a gamer my entire life. I remember blowing the cartridge on my Super Mario Brothers game when it was an NES, and I've been doing it my entire life. It's been great. I love it. But it is a male-driven thing.
While I think gaming, and more particularly possibly certain games, do cater to a more masculine demographic, I don't know why this would be a bad thing. If Call of Duty were suddenly to be about My Little Pony and rainbows, they wouldn't sell games. They are making the game that their target audience wants. They are making the game that their core group of consumers wants to play. This isn't sexism, it's common sense. If you want to play a different type of game, there are plenty out there. And if there's a game that you want to play that doesn't exist, you can go make it. And notice how I stated they cater to a masculine demographic and not a male one. How very regressive of you to insinuate that girls can't like guns or Call of Duty. One might even classify such an assertion as, well, I don't know, what's the good word for it? Sexist?
I mean, most shooting games are a male-driven, like, boys You're supposed to practice, it's like archery. Boys, you're supposed to practice shooting stuff in case you have to go to war. So you have to play Call of Duty. You got to play Halo. You got to play all that stuff. So it's going to be more male-oriented or...
Holy fuck. Did I just hear that? Who in their right mind actually thinks like that? I mean, what the fuck? Men gotta go get that Call of Duty and prepare for war. Who thinks that Call of Duty has anything to do with preparing for war? It's not a military simulator. Call of Duty would in no way, shape, or form prepare anyone for a war. Plus, you know, boys gotta practice archery, whatever the fuck that has to do with anything to do with this argument. I guess, you know, feminism, it melts brains, kids. Stay away.
It has been, so far, for sure. So does that make it sexist? I mean, I don't know. There are certain parts that they do want to sell to that group of people. I mean, they definitely do want to sell to that group of people. They want to make sure, okay, like, we're going to put women in it because most guys are dumbasses and go, oh, that girl's got boobs. Oh, I'm going to buy that game. Like, it's stupid.
While boobs are nice, I don't think many audiences outside of possibly teenage boys who haven't discovered Pornhub yet would actually buy or play a game simply because a girl has boobs. Call me crazy, but whenever I'm looking at a video game, the most important thing to me is gameplay or a compelling story. If you take those things and throw some nice boobs on top of it, well, hell yeah, now we got a party. Not to mention outside of a few titles that pretty obviously cater to horny teenagers. The main thing coming to mind is some fighting games. With the increase in technology, characters have been being portrayed much more accurately, male and female alike. One great example is the new Tomb Raider games, where Lara Croft is a fairly normally young athletic woman. Where in the olden days, to make her appear like she had boobs at all, we were left with these massive triangles. Now she is still portrayed as a very attractive woman, but I wouldn't say she is portrayed in an unfair light. She pretty much looks exactly what I would expect someone who kind of does what Lara Croft does to look like.
But, I watched a very interesting video about this girl who said, well, all the guys are buff too. Yeah, they are. Like, they pick good-looking people in video games. They're not going to pick bad-looking people. But, so, I'll give that a fair chance. You know, they're going to pick the best-looking people or interesting characters kind of people in video games.
But in reality, he goes on to make a point about this particular subject about the males being masculine and muscled and ripply that I've honestly really ever heard. He acknowledges that males and females are both portrayed in a very attractive light in video games, and you'll see. I'm skipping over a bit here because he just vaguely mentions Gamergate, showing no understanding of what Gamergate was actually about. I wasn't super active when the whole Gamergate thing was going on, and I don't feel qualified to speak on it. I will link an article down in the description that seems to align pretty well with what I've heard from first-hand experiences. Long story short, Gamergate really had nothing to do with sexism. It's just the way the media tried to spin it, just to keep from getting egg on their face, because they knew all they had to do was cry sexist and everybody would eat it up. It obviously worked because we still have this misconception today.
So, I see the problem with the Gamergate thing as far as with some people taking it a little too far and trying to get offended by everything. And also I see that people are just denying the problem as well. Denying that there is some sexism in the gaming industry. I mean, I don't see a lot of women going to that, going to that field and like being really...
Yep. No examples of women going into video gaming and being successful and embraced. The first thing I have an issue with this argument is, even if it were true, you can't force women to want to work on video games. This does not mean that companies are refusing to hire women, or they are discriminating against women in their hiring process. This would be illegal. If you have proof of this, it's illegal. You can't just look at numbers and say, oh, that industry is sexist. I mean, it's the garbage industry sexist? Is the sewer industry sexist? Is mining sexist? Men and women gravitate to different jobs. I'm not saying that this is true of the mining industry. This was just one of the ways I wanted to look at this particular argument of numbers, not seeing a lot of women being embraced. Next, I want to point out some women who are successful in video games despite its sexist ways. One of the first names that came to my mind was Amy Hennig, who is currently the creative director over an unnamed Star Wars project for Visceral Games at EA, who was formerly the creative director and a writer on the Uncharted series, one of the more popular titles of the last couple generations. And then we have Tracy Fullerton, chair of USC Interactive Media and Games and director of the Game Innovation Lab, which seems to be a project at USC which is shaping and researching game development for the future. Then we have Bonnie Ross, corporate vice president for 343 Industries, which according to a Fortune article is responsible for defining the vision and leading the Halo franchise, which has sold more than 60 million copies worldwide. She also oversees Kiki Wolfkill, executive producer for the Halo franchise, which puts two women at the forefront of one of the more successful gaming franchises ever created.
Embraced and happy. Like when I was playing Overwatch and I had this girl on my team and I go, oh shit, a girl. Like it just happened. I'm like, oh like it's just not normal. And this girl I knew who played World of Warcraft or whatever, and I was like, you know what instances are? You she was like get hit on all the time, and there's a lot of guys. Every time you see a girl in World of Warcraft who looks like a fucking girl who's dressed all slutty, it's a fucking dude like sitting in his basement. Yeah, like that's exactly what it is. So,
you know, the further I got into this video, I really began to understand that this guy is just projecting his own sexist views onto gaming as a whole to make himself feel better. Just because you are a sexist asshole who thinks it's a bad thing to have a woman on your team in Overwatch does not mean that gaming is sexist. It means that you're sexist, Andy.
It's just interesting. I think that a lot of the sexism in video games has been from it's institutional, societal sexism. Women have had a hard fucking time for a long time, I think. If you look at your history, you will know this to be true. Women have had it rough in life. Women have been slaves, have no rights, could get spousal rapes, it's just slowly, they were a secondary class that came up, and...
Sure, some women have had it rough. Well, life isn't all sunshine and lollipops and rainbows. This is no different whether you're white or black, whether you're a man or a woman, whether you're gay or straight. Life is tough. And you're talking about rights, and for a long time, a lot of men didn't have any rights either. Rights were based on wealth and land ownership, not sex. Do you think all those men who didn't own land and who didn't have the right to vote enjoyed being conscripted into World War I? You speak of this institutional sexism that does not exist. The patriarchy is a myth. If men were really so worried about keeping women down and being sexist pigs, why would they have voted to allow them to vote? Why are there specific diversity initiatives in colleges that encourage women to explore higher paying fields? Why is that so much of our media is focused on the damsel in distress? Men want to be the hero. They want to save women. It is something that they cherish. And you talk about women being slaves. Well, maybe if you looked at your history, you would realize that men have been slaves for centuries too. I mean, really, at the end of the day, if you want a slave to help you build a pyramid, you want the big, strong men. It's not like there has never been a man enslaved in the history of the world. I can't understand how you can even equate or mention slavery in a conversation about women's rights. If you really want to see women that have no rights and that are slaves, go look in the Middle East. Somebody calling you a bad name when you're online playing a video game is not a woman's rights issue. It's a human issue. People are assholes. People are trolls. Get over it. There are women out there who are still suffering, who can't go outside without being escorted by a man.
Just let people play video games, one. And two, remember the Japanese games with probably Tekken or something, I can't remember, something like that, where the girl's boobs are just fucking BAM! That's negative, because one, her back would fucking break. Two, it's a very bad image of what a woman cannot be.
Okay, one, yeah, some of those Japanese fighting games obviously cater to teenage boys. That's how you sell video games to horny teenage boys, put giant boobs on them. And two, they're not real. Their back would not break. They're in a fighting game. They don't move realistically. They're not meant to be realistic. They're meant to be interesting characters for a fighting game. If there's a woman out there who is getting upset because she cannot look like some woman in a fighting game, she has deeper issues than video gaming. The issue isn't with gaming or the portrayal of women overall in video games. The issue is hers and hers alone. Do not compare yourself to unrealistic characters. It's really easy. I can never look like Nathan Drake or Ryan Gosling or Kratos or any character in any media. I'm myself. I'm not trying to look like these people. I want to look like me. Now, it's not necessarily my thing for those games that have the over-sexualized, gigantic boobed girls to cater to teenage boys, but I'm not the demographic they're catering to. They are trying to sell a game to a demographic. That is not a bad thing. When you try to please everyone, you please no one. You have to create a game that a certain group of people will enjoy. I can't think of a real way to make a game that everyone will enjoy and leave any content of substance in that game. Video game is a vast and growing industry. There are types of games for people from all walks of life, of all ethnicities, of all genders. If you don't like games with girls with giant tits, don't play them. It's that simple. Go play something else. You don't have to support that developer.
The men aren't that. The men, well, sometimes they are, but it's not realistic. Sometimes the men are fantasy. When it's fantasy, I think it's different. If the men are just giant, big muscle monsters, that's a different thing.
Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. One of the stupidest things I have ever heard on the internet. Now that is a title that you can be proud of. So when women have features that are drawn unrealistically and over-sexualized, it's misogyny, it's sexist, it's the patriarchy. But when they do it to men, that's just fantasy. That's okay. It's just fantasy. It's a different subject. But when it's a woman, no, we cannot have that. We cannot have a woman who is drawn unrealistic, because women are fragile and weak, and they see that, and they compare themselves to it, and that's a standard they can never live up to. Why is it that people who discuss feminist topics are generally some of the most sexist people in the world? I think higher of women than that. I think women possess the ability to look at a woman in a video game who is drawn unrealistically and realize that this is not real life. I expect them to be able to separate themselves from fantasy and reality. I don't think they are fragile creatures that need to be protected from images of women that are unrealistic. You're trying to spin this video as inner thought and inner reflection, but in reality, you're just spreading false rumors started by Anita Sarkeesian. Men can handle it. It's just fantasy when it's a man. But when it's a woman, it's still just fantasy. That's the thing you need to understand. It's not real. You just seem to think that women cannot handle video games that portray fantasized women without feeling bad about themselves. They're so insecure that they cannot see a woman with giant tits in a fighting game without feeling bad about their own body. But men can handle it just fine. Men are big and strong and tough, right? It's just one of the stupidest things I've ever heard, that when a man is portrayed in an unrealistic manner, it's just fantasy, but whenever the same thing is done to a woman, it is sexist and it needs to stop.
So it depends if you're talking about realistic video games, more like, okay, you're using real people rather than like aliens. Like, then so there's always this thing about women and dealing with feminism, and it is harmful. I think both gender role ideas are very harmful. Looking at the way, I think the gender roles in general are bad. Women should be hot, skinny, compliant, and they're stupid, and they should make me a sandwich. It's retarded.
Now I don't even get what you're talking about. Is there someone somewhere that probably believes this is what women should be? I mean, sure. I wouldn't say that this is a stereotype of women, though. I wouldn't say that this is what society as a whole expects women to be. I don't know anyone who actually thinks women are stupid or dumber than men. I don't know anyone who expects women to be compliant and make them a sandwich whenever they want one. These are things that young teenage assholes say to make fun of women or tease them or to rile them up. No one actually thinks like this but you.
And like the male ones are very unfair too. Go to work, shut the fuck up, don't have any feelings, and don't be interesting, or don't be flamboyant, don't be able to express your feelings.
And again, I really don't know where you're getting these gender stereotypes from. I've never really heard anybody say that men just need to shut up and go to work. And the rest of your examples really just all hinge on men aren't allowed to express their feelings. And I don't think this is true at all. While it is true that men, or anyone really, shouldn't let their feelings rule their life, I don't think anyone has ever said that someone is not allowed to express their feelings. There is a time, a place, and a manner in which you should express your feelings. And being calm in the moment and level-headed is a good trait for anyone to have, not just men. This does not mean that you cannot express your feelings. You just need to be in control of your emotions and your feelings. And this is a skill that I think everyone should have, not just men. You need to be able to control your emotion and not let it rule your life.
Like, Overwatch is a good example. Some people were saying that Overwatch is sexist because Tracer's ass. They are. They do. I mean, they do show that. They show Tracer's ass. Like, they show Genji's ass too, but they show Tracer's ass in Overwatch, but then they kind of switch it around because they do. I mean, there is something there where there is definitely some sexism where bros want to see fucking girls' video game asses, and it's stupid. It's so stupid.
I mean, as a dirty fucking cis white male, I mean, if I am going to stare at an ass for a few hundred hours, it probably would be a female ass, I have to admit. But when I'm playing a video game, my character's ass is one of the last things I'm looking at. I am focusing on playing the game, believe it or not. I mean, you say they show Genji's ass too, so how is it sexist? What do you want them to do? Should there just be like a see-through, non-existent blob where their ass is supposed to be? I mean, if you depict a human character, it is going to have an ass. We all have an ass. We all have an asshole. Some of us even are assholes.
Moving forward, Overwatch is a very progressive thinking game. It has people from different races, from all over the world, with different backgrounds, and from different places and ideas. So that's why it's a great game.
Now, I don't play Overwatch, but really, that's what makes it a great game. The diversity of the characters' skin colors and backgrounds that have nothing whatsoever to do with the game. It's not anything to do with the fact that the way that they play in the game is diverse, so that their abilities are diverse, so that the weapons are diverse, or the roles they play in the game are diverse. It's skin color, gender, and because Tracer's gay and the other one's non-binary, the robot or whatever, that's what makes a game great. The things that they just made up as backstory that have nothing whatsoever to do with the game or gameplay.
So that's what I'm playing right now, but it's a fucking amazing game. But, you know, that little thing right there, women's body types, it's an important thing. So I think it's better to progress that we should be showing diversity in body types of women. We should be showing diversity of body types of men. But, you know, it's definitely more of a thing with women. It's definitely more of a thing. You have to look like this, and this is the only way. And that's harmful. It's harmful. It makes women bulimic. It makes women anorexic. It makes them...
I mean, here you go again, insinuating that women are so weak, fragile, and insecure that they cannot see a video game character without becoming bulimic and anorexic and trying to live up to that body stereotype, as you put it. Well, that was kind of hard to get through, and a few times you could even see him start to say something that was halfway rational and catch himself and stop. Oh, I'm trying to white knight for women on the internet. At the end of the day, I think he is the sexist one, and he is projecting his own sexist feelings on video gaming to make himself feel better.